Well, that's over with for now. So you've heard the definition of crazy, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, the Democrats invented a new kind of crazy, knowing the outcome of an event well in advance and still expecting a different result. That's impeachment, the worst planned adventure since the Donner Party. The Dems blew all their energy on a loser's bet, one that made the Iowa mess possible. Instead of wowing America, they fell flat on their faces because they were distracted. I return to Greg's rule. Republicans run things, Democrats ruin them. The difference is one letter, which stands for impeachment. So once again, the losers return to their hallucinations. The snakes on the wall, they're real if you're Adam Schiff, because now Trump could offer Alaska to the Russians.
Trump could offer Alaska to the Russians in exchange for support in the next election.
Damn, Adam's so nutty, he farts trail mix. But hey, it beats moving to Mar-a-Lago.
Or decide to move to Mar-a-Lago permanently and let Jared Kushner run the country.
So why cling to these crazy predictions? Because they don't exist, which means you can't disprove them. And the response will always be, well, you just wait. They're like imaginary mice and Schiff's the crazy coot on the table screaming. But those mad ravings had us waiting for the stock market crash, a tyranny, World War III, IV, and V, all paranoid nightmares that never came. Instead, all we got were stock market highs, trade deals, dead terrorists, and jobs. And since those successes are under Trump, the delusions only deepen. Without a real vision beyond anger, they cling to these mental phantoms. Look, early on, we told the Dems impeachment was a dead fish. We said, don't follow Adam. He's selling you drugs that only end in bad trips. But did they listen? Nope. To them, bad drugs are better than no drugs, which is why they'll be back in the lab coming up with a new paranoia pill. But we know not to gulp them. Let them have them all, because we saw it coming, but they have it coming. All right, geez, where to start? Jesse, big fat waste of time. The only winner in this whole thing, us. The network is pulling in millions of eyeballs. Yes, God knows what the ad money is.
It's a lot. Well,
my second home is buying a third home.
Oh my God.
Man, I don't even have a second home.
I have a fourth home on top of my third home.
Okay, I mean, stop bragging, damn it. I'm really jealous.
My sixth home is dating my seventh home.
Okay, well, when I'm your age, maybe I'll have a second home.
Oh, very good.
Juan, when I got on the set, you asked me, are you pumped? And I said, about what? And you said about the acquittal. And I thought to myself, we knew this was going to happen. This is like when your wife or your husband makes you go out to dinner to another couple's house who you hate. You have to go.
Right.
The food is terrible. You know you're going to have a bad time. Eventually, it's going to be over, and you're going to be back in bed, and you're going to say, I told you, honey.
Was that the one at my house?
Yes, it was. I think it's talking about the queso night.
It's like, you know, and then just to say something, to have a Trump impeachment, and you don't have any sex. You don't even have a dead body. You don't have a suitcase full of cash in a freezer. This is the lamest impeachment ever. Also, to your point about what you said in the monologue, with these crazy predictions, it's the same thing with global warming. In 20 years, Miami's going to be underwater. And if you say, I don't think that's possible, they say, oh, ho, ho, you got to believe me. And by the way, you got to give me all your money. That's the same thing. It's a stick-up scam. I didn't fall for it because I told you the whole time what was going to happen. You didn't listen, Juan. Are you happy, Juan? Are you happy? Because it looks like it backfired.
Why do you say it backfired?
I'm just saying because Biden got damaged.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to retake the Senate. Oh. Trump's at 49% approval. And what did we learn? There was a phone call, and the transcripts came out. I learned I was right.
We learned
But I knew that beforehand.
Well, you're always right.
Thank you.
But I will say, I think impeachment led most of the American people now to understand that this is a corrupt president. But they said, in essence, and this was the Republican line, even if he did it, we don't think it's quite impeachable. Wait till the election, as if the forefathers didn't think about elections. So you have now, I'm just going to give you a few, Senator Rubio, Senator Portman, Senator Toomey, Senator Collins, Senator Murkowski, and of course, Senator Romney, who voted to convict, all saying the president did something wrong, embarrassing, inappropriate, all of this.
But we saw that trick there, Juan. You just grouped Romney with people who didn't vote to impeach.
No, well, I'm just telling you, that's what they said. They said that the House managers made a convincing case, but we're not going to convict. I mean, I think Romney should be honored as a man of principle in this case, because at least he voted with his heart, not about
that was a
retaining
grudge.
power
We know that
or
was a
avoiding Trump's tweets. I mean, to me, what you get here is this is what Republicans in the Senate had to say, and then they, you know what, they just said, fold. You know, boy, we don't want Donald Trump saying nasty things about
Yeah,
us.
that's good mind reading. That's what we're all thinking. Katie, what do you think?
Well, I was a little bit surprised at the vote with Joe Manchin. I thought he would maybe vote to acquit the president on at least one of the articles, considering in West Virginia the president is very popular and it would have been politically safe for him to do so, but he voted with Democrats. This was predicted as a bipartisan acquittal. It did not end up being that way, but there's obviously going to be a lot made of Mitt Romney's vote. I don't think that it really matters because the president has a 95% approval in the GOP. The American people have given him an approval rating at the highest that he's seen throughout his presidency. Throughout the trial, Adam Schiff is trying to say that he's going to cheat and steal and that you can't trust the American people to make decisions in the next election. I think people probably took that pretty personally. And so moving forward, I don't think that his vote really matters when it comes to the numbers. And the president has had a lot of wins. And as soon as Mitt Romney does something that Democrats disapprove of, he will no longer be the moral clarity that they're claiming today. And I'd like to go back to the election against Barack Obama when they were calling him a racist, they were calling him an animal abuser, and of course he was waging a war on women. So, you know, maybe some of those people can take back some of the things that they said about him at that point.
Yeah, the women in the binders.
Yeah, the binder's full of women.
Dana, I wonder if you have thoughts on Democratic fatalism.
Well, I think that partly, Pelosi. Did you write that down or did
No,
I?
I saw the.
Oh, I haven't even read this article yet. That was written by John Ellis. I'm sure it's very good. Nancy Pelosi was also telling them for months, don't do this. It's going to backfire. It's not a good idea. But she did feel pushed by the progressives.
Right.
And where else do you see being pushed by progressives? Well, you could look at after 2016. What did Bernie Sanders do? He got the DNC to change everything, and how's that working out for them?
Yeah.
And so I think her frustration last night was not only just at the president, but also at her caucus. Like looking at them thinking, you know, I told you this was going to happen, and now they're in a fix.
Yeah.
And the president looks like he's just going to waltz right back into the White House for a second term. Obviously, it's not going to be that easy, but right now it feels that way.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten any worse for him, and it's gotten better since then. I think we have some sound on tape of Mitch McConnell smiling.
Speaker of the House says she refuses to accept this acquittal. Whatever that means. Perhaps she will tear up the verdict like she tore up the State of the Union address. There is no sign this attack on our institutions will end here. Whatever policy differences we may have, we should all agree this is precisely the kind of recklessness the Senate was created to stop.
What do you make of that, Jesse?
Well, I think he did a very good job as majority leader in the Senate, and he deserves a lot of credit for guiding this through. I think that Nancy tried to bully him, and Mitch McConnell's not a man to be bullied, and that's very clear. This was not a close vote. They were 20 votes short of conviction. It's not even in, like, the realm of possibility.
It was a partisan vote, which is the whole point of the two-thirds.
They needed 67. They got 20 votes less than that. And you look at the Mueller investigation and now this impeachment trial, Trump's clean. Trump is an innocent man. He has been found guilty of 0 crimes. And Juan, you said now that the American people are completely convinced this is a corrupt president. I would say this. I think the American people aren't going to believe any accusation by the Democrats against the president anymore, especially if it comes from an anonymous intelligence official, like the last 2 hoaxes have come from. And that's your fault, because you didn't do it in the sunlight, you did it behind closed doors, and that's not the way you take out the president.
Well, you can keep arguing the process. I think the reason I asked you if you were pumped was the man basically has got away with it. This is the man on Fifth Avenue shooting someone, as he bragged, and his followers saying nothing. And after Mueller,
Phone calls
where
murder.
there was all this evidence again, he says, I was exonerated. It's unbelievable. And we can expect to hear that. I hear he's going to give a statement tomorrow. I expect he'll do that and he'll play to the base again.
Is
But
Donald,
I just
let me ask you a question.
No, I want to
Right.
finish here.
Okay,
He
go ahead,
says basically what Republicans said today is Donald Trump, if you want to do this again, if you want to reach out to the Russians, to the Chinese, if you want to blame the Ukrainians for
sell
26,
Alaska.
do whatever you want because you, Donald Trump,
Okay.
you know the best term I heard today?
What's that?
Derwitzian, which is basically this.
Dershowitzian.
Dershowitzian.
Or something.
I was like, what?
Chuck Schumer's
Dershowitzian.
word.
Which means that anytime the president acts, as long as he thinks it helps his election and he thinks his election is the best interest of the country, it's okay.
That's
But that's a
not true.
misrepresentation of
That's
what
no
Alan Dershowitz
misrepresentation.
said.
That's a fact, Jack.
No,
that's
it's not.
That's what
It's an
Alan
absolute
Dershowitz
lie.
said.
It's a complete
Go
bald-faced-
read the quote.
I did.
You know what
We
the
actually
president
talked
would
about
say?
this on the show
You know
when
what
you
the
weren't here.
president says? Read the transcript.
Yeah, no, I read it.
Yeah.
What Alan Dershowitz said
Is
that if
Donald-
it's in the interest of the country,
Yeah.
then it obviously helps him in re-election.
Yeah, because Donald
God,
Trump.
That's easy.
Because you got to reelect Donald Trump.
No,
he
yeah,
says.
see, you're adding that. You're mind reading. You're adding a second part.
That's what he said. He said if the president believes his reelection is the best interest of the country, whatever he does,
he says,
fine, go for it, Donald
if you
Trump.
are investigating corruption or if you're trying to make a Middle East peace deal, that will actually help. If it just happens to help you get elected, that doesn't negate it.
It's called a mixed motive. But let me just ask Juan a quick question because I really want to hear his answer.
Okay.
Is Trump innocent until proven guilty?
Everybody's innocent. until
Thank
proven
you.
guilty.
Thank you very
Trump
much.
is innocent.
But that's not a trial.
Katie, what else
This
do you
was
have to
impeachment.
I would argue that Juan keeps talking about the process and how it doesn't. It really shouldn't matter, and that Republicans focusing on it is a distraction. But in America, the process is everything, and the reason why Democrats are in the position that they are now is because they didn't go through the process in the House to make sure that they had a solid case that was ready to send to the Senate, which is exactly why Nancy Pelosi was steamrolled by her caucus from the beginning on this impeachment process. But we are moving on to more of Nancy Pelosi's behavior in just a minute. But President Trump just tweeted about the vote this afternoon. He said, "I will be making a public statement tomorrow at 12 p.m. from the White House to discuss our country's victory on the impeachment hoax, end quote. Also of note, the media and Democrats told us it was a rock-solid case, but that has fallen flat."
We have a very rock-solid case. I think the case we have, if presented to a jury, would be a guilty verdict in about 3 minutes flat.
He has, in fact, committed impeachable offenses.
The president committed the offenses charged in the first article of impeachment.
The Congress now knows that the president has committed impeachable offenses.
The president is guilty. He is guilty of committing impeachable offenses.
The president is guilty. Every fact shows that the president is guilty of these impeachable offenses.
And Democrats might not be done. Here's what House Impeachment Manager Jerry Nadler said earlier. Oh, we already played.
We're talking about everything. Russia. Everything. And remember, our investigations on the Mueller report were never finished because we didn't get the witnesses. We're in court with McGahn and others. We'll get those witnesses. We'll continue with that.
Dana, is this ever going to end?
Well, I was thinking of something Mitch McConnell has said several times, which is there's nothing more you can learn from the second kick of a mule. And it's like when you're touching the hot stove, you're like, wow, oh gosh, don't ever do that again. You do it once when you're a kid, and then you are cautious. I still think that Nancy Pelosi's part of her frustration has to be that she got pushed into it. Then now they all have to say the same thing. They're all trying to say the same thing. Everybody's in their corners, but the president is actually come out on top and improve all these numbers that are improving. That can happen. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's been pretty quickly. This has been going on for 6 months, and the country has been paying attention. Americans are smart, and they've figured out how they feel about it, and they think that, one, they want to move on, and second, they think that they can fight this out at the ballot box. And now there's just not, 6 months is a long time, especially right before an election, and now we're at just 9 months before you could have a baby between now and then.
So you mentioned
Are you telling us something?
I said you could have a baby.
I do not have a womb, Dana. You know what? Maybe they should keep impeaching him because it makes them feel good. It occupies the Democrats' headspace. And it does, let's be honest, it does make Trump better because he loves a good fight. It's like better than a Flintstones multivitamin. It gets him going, and it makes him, this is the other thing, makes him more sympathetic. It does.
Oh, is that right?
So, Trump's the victim, Juan.
Oh, is that right?
He's been victimized by millions of Democrats and all of your investigators for many, many years. And that's why everybody feels sorry for the man.
Well, as
Because he has to put up with so much stuff,
I
and
get-
only he could put up with that much stuff.
What a man! What a man! He's your hero.
champion.
But I must say, Mitt Romney. I thought you said, I believe there was a bipartisan vote.
One guy?
Oh, I
Not-
think
okay.
Mitt Romney, right? What happened to Republican unity on that front?
It was never unified.
I think
Hang on to Mitt Romney.
No, I'm just saying.
I'll take the acquittal.
I don't see that. Kristen Sinema, right?
Democrat?
Democrat.
Doug Jones. What happened?
Democrat?
Doug Jones doesn't have to worry about it because he knows he's going to get beat by Jeff Sessions.
Oh, and
so
what
he's
happened
like,
to
I'm
Joe?
out.
No,
I need,
no,
I
wait a
need a
second.
career after I'm done with my Senate in the party.
No, I don't know, but what happened to Joe Manchin? Oh, remember? You guys,
Democrat.
He's a politician.
people don't vote on principle, just vote to retain your power.
Well, wait, you
Apparently,
shifted the
there were
argument
some
away from being
Democrats-
bipartisan. First it was
Democrats who
bipartisan.
voted from the heart as opposed to the pocket.
Why is voting from
You
the
lost
heart?
the bipartisan argument.
Why
Now
is
you're
vote-
shifting to the heart argument.
Why when a Democrat votes guilty, that's from the heart?
Because-
But when a Republican votes acquit, that's political.
Let me just go.
What's the difference?
I'm going to repeat.
Juan, what's the difference?
Because I'm going to tell you what Republicans said. Rubio, Portman, Toomey, Collins, Murkowski, and Romney all said
But can I say
his
something?
actions were
Yeah.
inappropriate,
Not
embarrassing.
impeachable.
Dana, I would like to hear from
Well,
you.
they're not the only ones that have said that. Like, there are people like Andy McCarthy from the very beginning was like, well, the House should just do the censure vote. They should walk away because otherwise this is going to walk them right into impeachment. There's a lot of Republicans who have said all of those things, but don't think that it was impeachable. I don't think that that's so out of the realm. And I think overstating the Romney factor of the one person that decided to vote on one of the articles to convict and saying that basically shattered Republican unity is a little bit
I don't say
overstating
shattered.
it.
No, I just said it's a fact. In other words, there's a fact. There's a Republican who voted
bipartisan.
for.
You know what else is a
But I
fact?
mean, Judge
He was acquitted.
Napolitano, right here at Fox News, has been saying all along, this guy committed impeachable offenses. But somehow
Well, he was wrong.
People don't
I
want to
hate
hear
to say it. Love
No,
you, Judge.
It's the power equation. Get elected, protect yourself
Hey,
against
Juan,
the Trump
that's
tweet,
an opinion.
Trump bullying.
What are you
Trump
guys going to
nicknames.
talk about after the trial?
After the trial?
Yeah, now that this is over, what are you guys going to complain about?
Well, I'm not complaining.
They'll do it again.
What are you
want
going to
subpoena
complain
John
about?
Bolton.
Why would I
What's
complain?
next, Juan?
Why would I complain? Oh,
You guys are
half-
going to have to focus on the Democrats,
Let
and
me
you don't
just
want to
say,
do that because that's a
Democrats-
mess over there.
Yeah,
you
that's
and the
a-
media
no, the
are going to
Iowa
have to
vote.
now. You're going to be forced to focus on the Democrat primary. You don't have this
Let me say.
impeachment anymore. You don't have another Trump scandal right now that you're cooking up. You have to focus on the Democrat primary,
Do you think-
and that's going to be a nightmare.
Jesse,
for
do you really
and the
think?
Democrats.
Do you really think that they're not going to try and come up with some other scandal?
Well, they got to come up with something quick, Katie.
No, but I mean, look, it's still a fact.
What?
Half the American people think this guy should have been impeached.
But they
and removed.
did before.
Because they're Democrats.
Ron, that's true before impeachment even started.
No.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
about
pushed.
look,
that's what
nothing has
pushed
really
Pelosi.
changed. Nothing
That's
has
what
really
pushed
changed.
Pelosi
I
and the
don't think- I
moderate
don't think that's what
Democrats to
pushed
back
Pelosi.
impeachment.
None of this has been in
the
Pelosi's
same.
favor from the beginning. She had to go back on her word and say impeachment had to be bipartisan from the beginning. Democrats joined Republicans in the House to vote against it. And here we are now with not the results that you think that you should have based on what you think the American people want, but it was political from the beginning, and the reflection of the impeachment polls reflects exactly how people come down with what they're voting on. And the momentum on this has been towards the president from the start. I mean, the poll numbers, the bipartisanship from the front end. I mean, that's been on his side. People have gone to that. Greg?
Well, I think, when I was watching, they were the end of this vote, they all started getting all friendly again. Did you see that? Oh, isn't this chummy? And they started thanking people. They should thank the American people for putting up and sitting through this circus, and thank us for being so cogent in our analysis and seeing through this and being right all along. I didn't hear a thank you from them. I didn't hear it, and I'm personally offended.
I actually do want to say I was right all along. He told you from the very beginning that this was a phone call, these were weak articles, and there was going to be an acquittal. But all you did was whine the whole time. And you didn't listen to what all we said. And the fact that Mitt Romney listened to a brilliant legal presentation, and he's a smart guy, and he came down on the side of guilty, makes me think, I don't think he was really open to hearing the legal analysis, because why would you vote for more witnesses if you were still open-minded and thinking about, oh, maybe this isn't a closed case, and then you get no witnesses and then you vote to convict? It doesn't add up.
It was a strong case, but in fact, if you have John Bolton sitting out there, if you have documents. Even today, there are
Then call
apparently
him.
more documents coming out that indicate the president was intent on using this influence for his political,
So
personal
it's basically
gain.
never going to end.
Why
is what
not?
you're saying. It's
No,
never
I
going
hope
to
it
end,
does
the
end,
accusation.
but I just...
You're continuing it. You're saying John Bolton maybe if, I don't know.
No. I just think that John Bolton's sitting out there, right?
Yeah,
and
he
John
has a book
Bolton has
coming
said
out.
the
You know
president
who
had
else
direct knowledge.
is sitting out there?
Who's that?
The whistleblower.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, Graham's going to call him.
Oh, my gosh.
We're going to
He
hear
is,
from him.
And Hunter Biden too, but we are going to move on.